Hello, my name is Katherine Blakeney, and I'm currently working on a novel called Masks Without Faces. It is a young adult sci-fi fantasy novel about archaeological explorations on a distant planet. And I find that it really helps me create my characters if I can actually see them in 3 dimensions. So what I'm working on right now is I'm creating my characters in miniature so that I can meet them and talk to them face to face before I describe them in the novel. These 5 characters that you see here are known as the Furry Giants. They don't look very giant right now, but they definitely are in the story. They are the local tribe that lives on planet Thror, which is the planet where I'm conducting my archaeological research. It is named Planet Thror after the famous explorer Gunnar Thorvaldsen, who discovered it several hundred years ago. And he named it after himself. The planet's real name, the name given to it by its natives, is very long and difficult to pronounce, so everybody just calls it Planet Thror, because it's much easier for everyone. I'm sitting in my workshop right now, which is filled with all of the materials that I've been using to create the furry giants, with lots of fur and scales. This handsome gentleman is the oldest of the furry giants that we have with us today. He's known by most as the grocer. He sells mysterious fruit at the Thorian market called black heart fruit, which looks very strange, but it tastes delicious. He's actually the chief of the Furry Giants tribe and a very, very important furry giant. His body is actually made up of this really thick, warm fur, scales, and thick, leathery skin. He's an amphibian, so he can swim as well very well, and he can breathe underwater for many hours in a row. He doesn't have a lot of fur left on the back of his head, but he's got very thick bushy eyebrows which more than make up for it, and of course his formidable gaze. So watch out for the grocer. He's more than he seems. This sparkly individual is known as Dorian. The furry giants have very, very long and complicated names that they don't really like to share with visitors. So they all have nicknames that they're known by. As you see, he also has scales and fur all over his body. His fur is a bit longer and his scales a bit shinier than the grocer's. He has a very flamboyant personality. He's very, very theatrical and very artistic, and he likes to show off. Furry giants come in many different shades and styles, because actually their fur has a remarkable quality. It can change color like a chameleon's scales, so they can camouflage with their environment. So if a furry giant wants to make himself almost invisible, he can curl up into a ball, hiding his vulnerable, scaly front parts, and then you see only his back, and then his fur can change color to match the color and texture of the surrounding environment, and you can't see him. He can turn into a furry boulder. It's very hard to spot a furry giant who doesn't want to be found. Now this one has been following me around ever since we arrived at the Thorian spaceport. He keeps offering his services as a guide, but I'm not really sure how reliable he is. He's got lovely emerald eyes, but that's not enough to trust a man. This furry giant is known as Speckles. I think you can tell why that is. He has these lovely golden scales mixed in with his regular black scales that look a bit like freckles. They're not, of course, but you know, it sounds sweet. He is not sweet. He's got a rather difficult personality. He's quite bitter about many of the secrets that his people are forced to keep, and which I am not currently authorized to share with anyone. He's very proud of his people's great past, and he believes that they have a wonderful future ahead of them someday. And here we have the youngest of the furry giants. Everybody calls him Rosebud because his fur is a lovely shade of pink, and the curls make it look like he's covered in fluffy little rosebuds. And he's got the personality of a rosebud as well. He's very young and fresh and curious about the world. He loves learning about other planets and other cultures, and always asks too many questions, and some find him annoying, but I think he's very sweet. They are not just cute and cuddly. People who think that are gravely mistaken. Their huggable facade hides many dark and terrible secrets, which I cannot yet reveal. But they definitely have a difficult past. You should never stray too far into the mountains. There are certain areas, they will tell you that those areas are dangerous. There are quicksands and geysers of boiling steam, which may or may not be true. There's definitely a sense that they're hiding something, but I don't know yet what that is. Well, maybe I do know a little bit, but I can't tell you yet. I'll have to read the novel and find out.